Hunter Biden on Bill Maher, okay? And believe it or not, I was actually very impressed with Bill Maher because Bill Maher asked the questions that everybody else was thinking about that maybe others like Tucker didn't ask Hunter for whatever reason. And, you know, everybody that does certain interviews, there is a motive that people have in an agenda. That's their show. They can talk about whatever they want, no judgment. But I like that Bill pushes, no matter what, if you're left, right, or center, he doesn't care who you are. He'll call you out, right? And he's gotten to this phase a lot more lately. So here's a couple clips. I want to show a couple of the clips that we have. Here's one of them. Go for it.
I think a reasonable person who's not filled with hate would say, you both took advantage of some of your privileges by being the son of a president and vice president, and you also were a target in a way that a normal person would not have been. Is that fair?
There's a part of that that is fair. One of the things that people, I think, don't understand is that when my dad was president, I didn't do any business. I sold paintings, and I sold paintings to people that then had to testify before Congress under oath. I made an average of $225,000 a year.
But would you have been working for an energy company out of Ukraine? Was that really the thing you studied in school? And you got that job.
Right. I went to Yale Law School.
You got that job because you were just admitted it.
Yeah, 100%. As I've said in a million interviews.
Good for Bill Maher.
You know, I'm incredibly privileged. I mean, beyond anyone's wildest imagination, not only because of who my dad was, but because of the father that he was. And so a lot of privilege comes from that. And I don't deny that.
And also a target on your back.
Yeah, and by the way, and also a target on your back. And also.
Okay, so how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that exchange? I'll come to you first, Linda. You know Hunter.
Yeah, I do, and it makes me very frustrated. I just, he's not being held accountable sufficiently. I mean, Bill Maher is doing a great job right here. But this is a guy who lived on the Biden name for decades and used his kids' college tuition money to pay for prostitutes and hookers, basically.
His kids'
college tuition to pay for his own drug money and to pay for his hookers. This is a guy whose privates were broadcasted around the world, and there's no shame. And I used to host events at which he would go and glad hand billionaires and business titans, not for the sake of the United States, but for himself. He went to all of these donor events in order to ingratiate himself, looking for exit opportunities. And that is why he had forced his senile and cognitive declining father, who had no business running for president, he forced him to run for the presidency, run for re-election. This guy has so much responsibility and culpability on his hands, and I wish more people were like Bill Maher.
Okay, so let's just say if he sits down with you, what 3 questions do you ask him? You sitting with Hunter, what do you ask him?
When are you going to apologize for the fact that you hoisted a man who very likely 99% had terminal prostate cancer? You forced this man to run for re-election. How dare you? This is not only a dereliction of duty to our country, but to your own family. You claim to love your father. Is this something that you would do to a man that you love? We just talked about Fat Joe raising a child with Down syndrome. Now we're talking about an 82-year-old man who is dying of cancer. Had he, God forbid, had he won the presidency, he would have been dying in the Oval Office right now. The cancer is now spreading across his body. Can you imagine? They lied to the world, telling us that he was sharp as a tack, running circles around everybody.
Yep.
In fact, I was on a phone call with Jen O'Malley Dillon, the chairman of the Biden campaign, with a small select group of donors. She had the gumption to look us in the eye and say, Biden is healthier than all of you. I'm a marathon runner. Okay, I run 5 miles a day. You want to tell me that Joe Biden is healthier than us? And so Hunter Biden has a lot of explaining to do because he is one of the primary reasons that Biden chose to run for a re-election again. There's another reason that we haven't addressed. It's his own fate. He didn't want to land in prison. He needed his father to pardon him.
What else? What else would you ask? Because that's very good. What else? You're an insider. What else would you ask? By the way, what was he like when he hung out with him? What was his energy like?
I have questions about his sobriety, frankly.
He's been sober for 7 years.
That's what he claims. But I was invited to the White House on February 24th, 2024. This was months after the cocaine situation, the Cubby. Do you remember that?
Yep, of course.
And no one was ever held accountable. There were no investigations.
This was recently. You're saying less
2.5 years ago.
2 years ago, yes. My guest and I went to the Oval Office a few months before the 2024 election, And I remember being in the cubby area and wondering, wow, there is no security in this room. You would think after an incident like that, they would put proper precautions in place. No security. There's nobody there other than me and my guest. The cubbies weren't locked. And so people could take things out at will. There were no cameras to speak of. I remember looking around and thinking, this is really strange. And I don't know if the American people realize this, but not a single interview was conducted in the aftermath of the cocaine gate. And so I have serious questions about this. To this day, we don't have answers about that. And Hunter Biden is very trigger happy when it comes to lawsuits, and we can talk about that later. There's a member of the Biden family who threatened to sue me. Actually, my lawyer, one of my lawyers, Tim Palatori, is like, you want them to sue you because Discovery is going to be beautiful. Everybody knows you're telling the truth.
Did they ever do that or no?
No, it's been.
They never followed.
They know that I'm telling the truth. They know I was in a position to know. I have the receipts. It's been 2 years.
If you're a betting person and you were able to go to Poly Market and a VPN to bet that Hunter Biden, okay, that's a different, that Hunter Biden
was not
has
sober?
used crack the last 7 years.
For sure. I would totally. And I'm not a betting woman. I'm an index fund girl. But yeah, exactly.
500, you know what I'm saying?
I respect. So you would say yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And he's not the only member of the family with serious substance issues.
But Lindy, he is so charming. He is so charismatic. I got to tell you, like the way he knows how to do this, you watch him like, yeah, I just admit it. But Bill, I just did. But Nick, why would you say that? Nick, why would you say that? And he has this thing that he does. You can tell. I got 4 kids, so I watch which one of my kids can get things from me better than others. You see the childlike side of him, and you can tell why this guy's good with girls. You can tell. Like, you can tell why he was able to. I had one of his baby mamas on the podcast. We had a great conversation.
The girl that was a stripper that had a baby that he never wanted to be around.
A phenomenal conversation with her.
The one whose daughter he wouldn't claim.
That's right. They didn't want to claim. They didn't want to claim, yeah. But it was a very good conversation. And she told the story of one day, they're in the hotel room, and they're high as a kite. And she says, the father, Joe, comes and knocks on the door and sees both of us. And he says, I looked at the father looks at Hunter, and he says, I've never seen this much pain in a father's eyes when he made eye contact with his son and knowing what his son is going through. He says, I felt for the dad. And this is the kid that they had together. So, and by the way, I want to go to another clip, but before I do, Lindy just came out with a book. It's coming out. And I want you to pull up the link if you can. She's got a ton of these stories in the book that if you guys want to hear it from an insider, go place the order, Unburden, a former Democrat insider, shocking accounts of political power, betrayal, and party collapse. If you want to see more of these stories come out, now again, this comes out September 22nd, but pre-order, go get the copy, whatever you have. Let's put the link below as well for folks to be able to pre-order this. Let's go to the next clip. The next clip I want to go to is one where, again, Bill is going back with them, and they're talking about different things. And he says, well, we never talked about addiction, and Bill shoots back pretty quickly. Watch this. Go for it.
But everybody has a brother who's suffering from addiction. Everybody, including themselves, have gone through periods in their life in which they've struggled.
Everybody?
And not just with addiction, but with grief and loss. I was speaking about my dad's health. And, the thing that is the most astonishing to me is all of the things that we all experience, these painful things, are things that everybody's gone through, but we never speak about it. And nobody ever comes on a show like this and openly talks about it.
Well, I don't know about that. This is America. We talk about it a lot.
Well, I don't know.
Come on, let's be real. We talk about it a lot.
Yeah,
we talk about addiction. We talk about grief.
Yeah, I don't. But you know what? But I think that we talk about addiction and grief, but not in terms of our own personal experience, in which the vivid Technicolor pictures have been released to the entire world.
I think,
and there's that piece of it. That's what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
Well, yeah. I think a fair.
Okay, this is one of them. Now, can you go to the next one of him asking him about running for president? And then we'll get a couple thoughts and move to the next story. So here's asking about whether you run for president or not. Watch this.
Don't be nervous. We only have like
ready.
10 or 12 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of all the things that we get into the weeds with, and I see you with another. Your laptop, your obituary. The third word will be laptop.
Yeah.
I don't. I know everything about the laptop. More things than I want to know. I've seen you with your dick out. I've seen you with a crack pipe in your mouth. My question: are you running for president?
See the smile? Look at the charm. Looking like his dad, young dad.
I'm here to announce. Yeah, exactly.
Have you thought about that?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
No, you.
Oh, yeah,
Here's my thing. If I announce for president, then somebody should check and see if I relapsed. That's what I. Yeah.
Okay, pause it. What do you think?
Oh my gosh,
Why do
I
you
have
think
to
he's
say
doing
this.
this?
I have to say this because I'm
Please.
jumping out of a chair. This guy got hair plugs, for sure. I know Hunter. I've seen him. I'm sorry.
And also new teeth.
He's got new everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Joe Biden got major surgery. And I don't mean like health-wise, but cosmetically. There's not a doubt in my mind.
Joe Biden got major
absolutely. Everything.
Oh,
really?
Absolutely. I mean, just look at Joe's face, the evolution over the years, for sure. It's not a surprise that Hunter Biden got hair plugs, some sort of hair procedure.
What's
because
wrong
it's
with that, though?
No, it's great. I'm just saying that's a better indication of his political aspirations than a lot of other things.
Well, this is a perfect toss-up to you for your latest business you started in Turkey with hair transplant that
Yes,
you want to share,
yes.
you know, in
Hunter
Istanbul.
Hunter and I started multiple businesses. We started a laptop company. We started a lap dance company.
What do you think?
We did anything with laps.
Do you think he runs for president?
No.
Do you think he's doing this for anything?
Look, I'll give you 3 little takeaways. I
Yeah.
watched the whole interview. Number 1, the biggest takeaway I had was at the end of the interview, Bill Maher goes, well, send your best, our best to your dad. He goes, he's watching right now. He's alive. He's watching right now. They're like, yeah, okay.
I don't think Joe Biden's staying up
But
till
one
9
thing he
o'clock.
said that struck out to me, he goes, listen, I think you did some bad things, but I don't think you're a bad man.
That's
In the day of reinvention in America and reinventing yourself and starting over, I'm sure there's a lot of people that look at Hunter and they're like, what a mess. I hope you clean it up. And it looks like he is, whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally, whether it's religiously. He did some dumb things. You know, on his tombstone, it's going to say 3 words. It's going to say laptop, it's going to say crack, and it's going to say corruption. So right now, he's basically out there sort of putting lipstick on a pig. And, you know, to your point, if you just take the numbers they're saying on the surface, he's saying 50 million Americans are still sick and suffering every day from addiction. I don't know if that number is accurate or not, but that means 1 out of every 5 or 1 out of every 6 Americans is dealing with addiction. So when they say a lot of people understand what Hunter's going through, we joke, you're a crackhead, but there's a lot of people that do understand what he actually went through. The difference with him is he was in the limelight for 20-something years doing crack on the low.
Well, I genuinely feel sorry for him because, I mean, if you go back to the story, okay, besides the political aspirations or whatever, the Democrats will take anything at this point. Look at where they're at with DSA. They have no real leaders. The AOC's are their front runner and Gavin Newsom's number 2. But if you guys go back to his past, his mother, Nelia, a Hunter, by the way, her maiden name was Hunter. That's where he gets his name from. She died in a car accident, and the 13-month-old
Sister also died.
Also died as well. The
Joe
brother,
Biden's
Joe Biden's
first wife.
that's his
before
mom.
Jill.
Jill, Dr. Jill. But I can only imagine, you know, what type of pain that becomes. And, you know, you become, you know, your father's not there. You lose your mother. The addiction starts. But then that addiction turns into crazy stuff where we had John Paul Isaac over here talking about what he really saw on this laptop. And the most disturbing thing was him allegedly naked, smoking crack in front of his niece. So, and by the way, the getting the stripper, whatever her name is, pregnant, not seeing like his character, put all that aside. I genuinely feel bad for him, and I pray for him to get over whatever he's got. I don't believe he's been sober for 7 months, but that's me. But Dad, this is the type of attitude where you could go out and have fun and be nonchalant when you know you've got a pardon and nothing's gonna happen to you. And getting $225,000 for a crackhead to make a painting, you mean? Where do you think, who was giving him that money, Pat? Did they ever trace? He goes, people testified, and what does that mean? People lie in court all the time.
I can tell you exactly who bought his painting.
Please.
There's a lawyer who paid upwards, I think, $7 million. He paid all of Hunter Biden's legal bills.
Weird.
I forget his last name, but there's one lawyer who paid for everything.
And was it connected to any China or all the people that he was hooking up with the big guy?
It's a lawyer who has business with politically involved clients. So no one is doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. Everybody wanted something out of Joe Biden.
You mean it's not Picasso, Rembrandt, Hunter Biden?
Let me tell you why Joe Biden is currently on his charm tour.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden, you mean?
What did I say?
Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, I mean, he is too. You know, Joe Biden's out with a book that he didn't write. He claims to, actually his first.
So did Jill
he came
Biden.
out with a video saying, "Guys, I wrote a book." No, that's lie number 1. You did not write a book.
Yeah.
You did not write a sentence. You hadn't written anything in a number of years, at least for a while. They are doing this. Jill Biden just came out with a book. Joe Biden came out a book purportedly for $10 million. They're doing this because the family is flat broke. Flat broke. They are having financial problems, guys. That is the truth. They couldn't raise any money for their so-called presidential library. Usually when successful presidents raise money for libraries, people are throwing money at you, especially with that. You saw with the monstrosity. Exactly. That's the ugliest building I've ever seen in my life. Putting that aside.
Yeah.
They can't raise any money for the presidential library. In fact, candidates in the Democratic Party are saying, please don't show up at my events. We really don't want you here. Do us a favor and just go away. When Jill Biden was going out on her book tour, a rehabilitation tour, everyone was telling her to shut up. There were people in Biden world saying, please just go away. But they need the money that badly. Think about it. Their patriarch is not making any money. In fact, James Biden, Joe Biden's brother, just had a hospital network that fell apart, actually based here in Florida. They were in, wait for it, they were in business with the same doctor who went out before the American people, Kevin O'Connor, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who said, Joe Biden is fit to run for another 4 years. This doctor who said that was in business with the Biden family. So where do you think his incentive is?
Of course. And
that's a famous quote. Never look better.
Yeah. And if you're getting $250,000 as if, by the way, real artists don't get paid that. So to me, it's a pay for play. And that attitude, like I know people that I used to party, I used to do drugs, I used to drink. That attitude is somebody that's those are fun people to be around. They have stories, they have that charisma. But in his soul, I think what his father put them through. Even Ashley Biden, she was in rehab in 2019. She's the one that left a diary that somebody found and gave it to Project Veritas, where she even says, my father would shower. This all goes back to Joe. My father would shower with me probably at inappropriate ages. I think these kids are all in pain, Pat. I feel sorry for all of them. But this whole parading around, doing the rounds, trying to make everybody feel like, he's a cool guy. This just shows you what the Democratic Party has, and it's nothing. That's what the Democratic Party has. It's zero.
Look,
who's buying crack paint?
I'm just going to push back a little bit. I'm not going to defend Hunter or Joe Biden, but I'll just ask this question. Is it such a bad thing that they're broke in the day of age of that everybody's enriching themselves, selling stock, getting rich off the government? You come in, you're broke. Next thing you leave and you're worth $100 million. You're telling me this guy's been in politics for 50 years and he's broke? So there's a lot of things we can say about
no. But let me say
what I'm
this.
saying is,
I like what Humberto said today, and I want to give a quick shout out to him. I like what he said today. He said, there's a part where he says Don Jr. made $1 billion. I don't know if you guys have that clip or not. If you want to, is this the clip of Don Jr. making $1 billion? If it is, just play the clip. Watch this.
In the last 500 days of this administration, Don Jr.'s company has taken in over $3.4 billion in Department of Defense contracts. He got a $640 million loan pushed through by the White House, the largest single loan to any private company ever given out by the Department of Defense. And that's just a fraction of it. Forget about what they've done with cryptocurrency now, which is a bank in which they are able to go and launder their money. It is an abomination. And that doesn't even include what Jared is doing and Ivanka are doing. He gets paid over $100 million in fees by the Saudis alone, for a $6.5 billion fund that he controls, which is all Gulf state money. And he is our unelected, unappointed emissary to the Middle East for a war that nobody asked for. It is absurd. It is
not
literally
nobody,
absurd.
But,
what?
Not nobody.
Oh, that's true. Bibi Netanyahu asked for it, and he was 100%.
Your father, among every other Democrat, excuse me, every Democrat said Iran can't have nuclear weapons.
And every single Democrat and every president since Jimmy Carter refused what the Israelis wanted. Refused what the Israelis wanted was to bomb Iran. Well, every single one of them. The only person who fell for it was Donald Trump.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you hear this exchange, and then Humberto says the difference is that Trump's camp, they're business owners. So they're growing their business. They had business before, and their business dealings is doing better now. Of course, as a president, now don't get me wrong, I will tell you, openly, I'm not a fan of these meme coins. I'm not a fan of this crypto stuff. I'm not a fan of any of that stuff. There's some big news today. You know what it is? Do you know what was the color of the year in fashion?
Blue?
Can you say what was the color of the year in fashion?
Brown.
chocolate.
Chocolate.
Was the color of the year in fashion. So what did we do? We went to Tuscany, Italy, and we chose the exact color that we're talking about with the chocolate, and it's officially out. It's the
that's
new
beautiful.
FLB chocolate edition. I want you to watch this. By the way, this shoe, I've worn it with so many different outfits. I get more compliments with this brown than I do with the black. I want you to watch this clip with the latest chocolate-colored FLB shoes. Go for it.
Handcrafted across 5 Italian factories, with builder technology underfoot, it may be the most comfortable shoe you will ever own. Introducing the all-new FLB shoe, finished in new chocolate Carezza leather, made to move,
Oh, it looks delicious.
built to endure, designed to impress.
Dude,
How sick is that?
can I
Does
have
this
that?
come in female size 6?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Not
Lindy,
people
take
are asking
these.
for it. People are
Clown
asking
shoes for you.
But the latest chocolate FLB shoes are out. You can go to vtmerch.com to place your order. Again, a limited number of sizes that we have. So whoever gets it, you get it. If you don't, you have to wait 4 months, 5 months for the next shipment that we have. You know how this works. And if you haven't yet had these brown chocolate FLB shoes, go to vtmerch.com to place your order. And it's got the, super foam technology on the bottom, super, super soft, comfortable. This is all I wear every single day. Again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order before these things sell out.